Hey guys, Coach Sarah here, and in this video I'm going to tell you about my ACL injury. It was the first game of the tournament, and it was the first quarter, only 5 minutes into the game, and I was on a fast break, so I started to gather the ball to go up for a layup. So I planted my left foot, and then that's just when my knee went out, and I just collapsed on the floor. I knew it was something a little bit more serious just because I wasn't able to get up right away. Usually if it's some type of injury, I usually try to get up and get off the court so that they can continue playing, but I was just kind of stuck there grabbing my knee for a little bit. I didn't think it was a major injury like an ACL because I was able to still walk, but it wasn't until later that day, once the adrenaline kind of wore off, and I actually had to attend a wedding that day, that I had to get into a SUV, so I had to kind of push myself off my leg to get in, and then as soon as I did, my whole tibia shifted a good 6 inches out of place, it felt like. I knew right from there that it was definitely something serious, so the next day I went in to go get it checked out, and I got an MRI, and once the MRI results came in, it ended up being a complete tear in the ACL and meniscus tear also. This is your knee joint. You have the ACL that runs this way. That tore, which is why I felt my knee go like this when I pushed off. And then the meniscus is what's underneath it, so the cushion that absorbs all the shock. After the surgery, I actually was able to get some help from a physical therapist, and I think it was maybe the following week I started physical therapy, just working on my range of motion and activating my quads again. They had to stitch my meniscus up. That alone takes about 6 weeks for it to heal. For that to heal, they had to lock my leg out into full extension into a brace, and I couldn't bear weight on it for 6 weeks. And because of that, it started to atrophy, and all the muscles got small. It got really weak. It looked like maybe 2 of my arms put together. That's how small it was. The whole rehab process was long and extensive, and it was basically building up my strength back into my leg, relearning how to walk, relearning how to go downstairs. I had to heal my knee, so I had to focus on my rehab. Since I couldn't really bear too much weight, or I couldn't move laterally, I could stand up though and work on dribbling. So I started just doing some 2-ball drills. As I started doing them, I noticed I was getting better at them, because every day I'd go into the gym, I'd do my rehab, I'd start doing my 2-ball stuff. I was learning tricks too, because I'd be in the gym for hours just working on my rehab and the ball handling, because I wasn't working at the time because I couldn't. So I was just spending my day doing the stuff I could focus on that would help me get better and reach my goals. I started documenting my progress, and I was posting it on my social media to kind of show my road to recovery. And people started getting interest in it, and they started following my whole process of this comeback. And that's what really motivated me to keep waking up early in the morning, going to the gym. It became a routine of, okay, let's wake up, let's get better today than what I was yesterday. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show you a few exercises that I do to improve my function and to prevent injury. Let's go. When warming up, it's important to increase your heart rate. I usually start off with dribbling. First, I start with 1 ball, and I do butt kicks to loosen up my knee. And then I use 2 basketballs to dribble up and down the court to increase my heart rate. I then like to use a foam roller to foam roll my quads and my hip flexors to improve hip extension. Next, I like to stretch out my hip flexors to improve my hip extension. I do this by using a band, and I tie it around a sturdy pole and loop it right underneath my butt cheek. I kneel down with each knee at 90 degrees and then tilt my hips into a pelvic tilt. Make sure your back doesn't arch out and you're engaging your core. You should start to feel the stretch in front of your hip. You can increase the stretch by reaching back You can reach to the side in the frontal plane, and you can also rotate to get the transverse plane. Each of these will stretch the muscle fibers a little differently. I reach in each direction 10 times. To help the mobility of my hip, I tie the band around this sturdy pole again and loop it on the inside of my leg. It should be close to your groin, but not pinching down on bone. Then you kneel down like a regular hip flexor stretch with your core engaged and gently go forward and back. You should feel the traction in your hip. I do this for about 30 seconds or for about 10 passes on each side. Then I like to activate my glutes. I first start by laying down on the ground and tie a band around my knees. From here, I bridge up and then oscillate the band side to side, activating my glute medius. I like to do 3 sets of 10. You should feel it all in your glute and a little in your hamstrings, but dominantly in your glutes. The way to activate your glute med in a more functional position is to stand up and engage your core, rotate your leg outward to do a standing clamshell. You should make sure that your back doesn't arch and that your core is engaged, and you should feel it on the outside of your hip. I do 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 15 for each side. To activate my core and glutes in a more functional position, I work on balancing on one leg. Being able to properly balance on one leg is important because we are always in a single leg stance when we're walking or sprinting. So being able to properly engage your core and glutes to stabilize your body and spine is important. You want to work your way up to being able to properly hold this position for a minute.